Hello, and welcome back to the Accounting Podcast, your weekly roundup of news in the accounting profession. I'm Blake Oliver.
I'm David Leary.
David,
Blake,
WNBA news.
WNBA news.
Yeah, it's our favorite topic on the Accounting Podcast. I can't wait to discuss with you the week that the WNBA commissioner had, the worst week of any CPA.
Yeah,
according to you, what happened? I'm not a sports guy. I don't know.
So let's rewind a little bit on this. So the WNBA in the last 2 years, year and a half, has gained enormous popularity. A lot of it's due to Caitlin Clark's entrance into the WNBA.
That I was aware of.
They have a new TV deal. And so this is like $2.2 billion, maybe a little bit more. Mm-hmm. And there's a current negotiation happening on the collective bargaining agreement. But the players are, in general, so some of it is this public negotiation happening. But she got lit up by Nafisa Collier about her lack of leadership. And to the point where just the players are basically asking her to get fired or to resign. And she had her own press conference, and you could just feel how like overall tone and she's just out of touch with the labor, to the point where she made a sentence that said, somebody on Twitter called her a lizard because she said, "I'm human, I have kids." Like, she's trying to be relatable. She actually said that in her press conference.
Oh no.
It's really, and then I'm stepping back and really looking at this and the way she's interacting with the labor, because that's what this is. This is management and labor relationship.
Yeah.
She is a CPA, spent her whole career at Deloitte. She was Deloitte's first female CEO.
33 years.
And I'm just wondering, like, is that like the wrong management style to be having? There's something off here. And I think it's because of her background. She's only worked for Deloitte.
33 years at Deloitte, rising up through the ranks in a traditional hierarchical business model that is more similar to like the military than to an entertainment organization, which is what these leagues are these days. And they have stars, and the WNBA players are stars and are entertainers in addition to being incredible athletes, and you can't treat them the same way that you treat employees in your corporate hierarchy.
And she's not denying some things that have been said or the vibe of things that have been said. She basically is rumored to have said that Caitlin Clark is lucky to have the WNBA platform so she can make $16 million off the court. It's just that tone, and I'm like, you're lucky to have this job, entry-level CPA. We just hired you out of college. I feel I've not worked for big accounting, but you have. Is this like is this really how it's managed? The tone, this like, I'm better than you. You should be thankful for this.
I don't know. Like, to be honest, I mean, I worked for a large firm, but it was only, large in the sense it was a 1,000 staff and 100 partners, and the big four are just like enormous, right? Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of employees. So it doesn't surprise me though, based on what I've heard from people who have worked there. So
there's a chance she might not have a job this week after the end of the week. She might get fired.
I remember when she got the job, and I always thought that, like, I remember thinking it's kind of strange, like, to go from Deloitte to WNBA. Like,
she played college ball, so she has a background in basketball.
Got it.
But I think I was trying to like digest this a little bit, and like the differences. And if you think about like when you're the CEO of a public accounting firm, right? You're not really the decision maker. You're getting a lot of consensus. So all the decisions are made by a group of partners, right? In a way. Well, and so you're not under the pressure. Like, it's not you, right? This is what the partners voted, right? You don't. Yeah. But now, like, it's her. Like, she's the one getting the finger pointed at, right? She's the leader of this organization. Now, to be fair, all the major professional sports all hate the commissioners. Like, that's just kind of the deal, how it goes. But again, she's CPA, and I'm just seeing like her out of touchness really come through. And I'm wondering if like this is a management issue of I can see a big four partner telling it the labor, you're lucky to even have a job here.
Exactly.
Like, that's the tone she's putting out. And I've pulled up something about the control. Hold on a second.
While you do that, I want to thank our sponsors of this episode, Thank you to OnPay, Cloud Accountant Staffing, Bill, and Assembly. Forbes and CNBC rank OnPay number 1 for small business payroll. OnPay really knows how to get payroll done right for every client you serve, no matter how complex. Their software is easy to use and backed by outstanding service levels. They handle new client onboarding for free and have experts on call to keep you and your clients on track. The system includes multi-state payroll, local tax filings, integrated HR tools, and more with no hidden fees. When you join OnPay's partner program, you get a custom dashboard to easily manage all clients in one place. Plus, you can gain exclusive perks like revenue sharing or discounts, free payroll for your firm, co-branding opportunities, premium swag, and more. OnPay helps you run your practice efficiently while providing exceptional payroll that your clients can count on. To learn more about using OnPay for your firm and clients, that could be farms, startups, restaurants, bars, doctors, nonprofits, gyms, franchises, dentists, you name it, head over to accountingpodcast.promo/OnPay. That's accountingpodcast.promo/ONPAY.
Yeah, I think the big thing is I think at firms, the way you controlled people was through the culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now she doesn't get to do that. She has to negotiate with a union. It's a whole different game.
Yeah,
and
completely different.
I think because she hasn't been able to control the culture, which you can't do, and now the culture is revolting.
Right.
And she's looking like a deer in headlights.
Yeah, top down versus bottoms up.
Yep.
All right, David, I want to highlight someone I met at the Advisory Amplified Tour. Listeners of the show know that I've been on tour the last few weeks. Where was I? Seattle, LA, Chicago, and Austin on the Advisory Amplified Tour. And this week, I'm headed to Atlanta and Boston. So if you're going to be in Atlanta, well, probably this episode won't come out in time. But if you're going to be in Boston on Thursday, come see us. Go to advisoryamplified.com. When I was in Austin, I saw Logan Graff. He came to the event and showed up. So great to see Logan there. And then afterward, he tweeted based on something about my presentation, which is it's about standardizing your tech stack. And one of my arguments is that firms should mandate a tech stack. That's nothing like revolutionary these days. I think, well, with some firms it is, but most modern firms will now say, if you want to work with us, you need to use these apps that we use, this general ledger, this expense management tool, this payroll system. That's sort of like a given. And I'm saying also that we need to expand that to include banking, because banking is the primary source of data that goes into the accounting system. If you have clients that are working with crappy banks, it's just going to slow you down, and you can't speed up your close. You can't get the data in accurately, right? So that's my argument. And this is kind of controversial. So Logan tweeted, he said, do any firms require their business clients to use a specific bank in order to work with them? This would be to provide accounting services inspired by @ Blake T. Oliver. And the responses are interesting here. I'll just read some of them. Ish Dalal says, if you have hordes breaking down your door, sure, filter them however you want. Otherwise, totally fair to charge a PETA premium for those loyal to banks stuck in the Jurassic Age. And there were quite a bit of respondents, people responding saying yes, I recommend certain banks, and if they won't use it, I'm going to charge them extra. That to me is, first of all, I wonder, how could you charge enough to make it worth your time? You know what I mean? They're charging $50 extra, something like that. But also you still have to deal with the pain, right? It doesn't solve the problem. Here's another response. Ruvim said, I'm considering it. There are banks that are extremely difficult to work with. Not having check images is the big one. I would just let the client know their price is higher than usual because of the bank. Again, saying I'll just charge you more if you use the wrong bank. Richard says, I know one bookkeeper that requires a specific bank. She speaks about it a lot at conferences. Josh?
Yeah, I know who he's talking about. He's talking about Deborah Kilsheimer.
Oh, okay.
She makes everybody get on Chase. So she basically has built $1 million firm on the back of $170 a month charging landscapers, and she makes them get a Chase account so she doesn't have to mess with other banks. Chase was one of the first places that had a little bit of an accountant's use case, right? You could sign a
Yeah.
letter and get access or something.
Well, it's just, they made it easy to set up read-only access, and
Yeah.
then give that to your bookkeeper, your accountant, and it was just the easiest to do. Like that was my recommendation for a long time before Relay came along. Josh Youngblood says, I do not understand this take. Shouldn't that be up to the client? I can understand charging more if you have to deal with some horrible bank that makes it hard to get info you need. I can also understand having a list of banks you recommend, but require? No. And there's so many people who respond saying like, no, like why would you ever require a specific bank? It's like there's this mindset that
What's
like
the
this is
difference
not
between the bank? The bank, to some extent, is a tech platform in a weird way, right? It's just as you stack apps, you're stacking the bank account. It's the same thing. If you're going to require apps for your clients, why not the bank account too?
right. So yeah, exactly. And it's like, well, so are you going to take clients that are on like some, let's say that you have clients that come to you on Wave, and you don't do Wave, you only do QuickBooks Online or Xero. And are you still gonna take that client that's on Wave and just charge them more money because they're on like Wave, or are you going to just standardize and make them use your system? So there's a lot of like this mindset that is just so stuck in the mud when it comes to this. So anyway, thanks Logan for sharing your perspective and coming and I don't know, sort of like continuing that conversation. I hope, I don't know, I just like, how do we get it through to the profession that if you actually want to scale up your firm, if you want to standardize your services, you have to mandate the technology. You can't let clients dictate what tools you use. Otherwise, they're just hiring you to do a job, in my opinion. And they should be hiring you to provide a solution.
And you should be able to go to them and logically explain, here's why you don't want to use this bank anymore. You should switch to this bank.
Yeah.
And give them the reasons why.
Yeah.
Like I get it. If you can't explain that to your client, you can't ask them to change. You have to be able to justify it.
All right.
So
David.
I have a Twitter thread similar to that, I guess. Sadie Richardson, CPA. So she tweeted, and I'll read her tweet. Just had a client drop off his 2024 info today. And when I told him it was cutting it close because this is October 1st and I'm leaving for vacation on October 10th, he looked at me dead in the face and told me that was bad planning. No, sir, you bringing your info on October 1st after our deadline is bad planning. And I see this and I'm like, this is the accounting problem AI is never going to solve, Blake. Because we can argue that AI is going to increase capacity at the firm and all these things. And then if a product actually solved this problem, you wouldn't even need an accountant or tax pro. Like your taxes would just be being done magically to some extent. And in my opinion, the reality of the bottleneck is not the data entry at the firm. The bottleneck is the 25 places a small business owner or a client needs to go to gather up all these docs, save them to the hard drive, take photos with your phone, and then get them to you somehow. That's the bottleneck. Mm-hmm. And so what happens is people like me, and I get it, clients, I'm just going to procrastinate. I don't want to do that stuff. It's the worst. And automation's never going to solve that problem. You can build as much capacity in your firm you want, but people are still going to bring stuff in late at the last minute, and you're going faster to do it doesn't really solve the problem. AI is never going to solve this problem.
Well, I don't know about that. Maybe there's one way it could. This is really similar to what I was just talking about, like in my presentation with the data in issue, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
you can't do your job as a tax preparer unless you have all the data you need, and that's you're relying on the client to get you that. Same way with like if you let them choose the bank, you end up relying on the bank to get you that data, and it slows you down, right? So, what's the solution to this is, I don't know. I mean, the AI agents that can go out and log in on your behalf to different systems and go and gather information, they are coming. But the big barrier is the trust. Like, are we really going to give like our password manager access to, and banking access and all this like really sensitive information? Are we going to let an AI agent like log in as us and go grab that information?
Well, that's assuming all the places these docs are have logins for accountants. Usually they don't.
Well, no,
right?
I'm saying like I as the business owner, I as the
A
client,
business owner. Oh yeah.
like that's the solution is that I need an AI assistant that goes out and gathers all the documents that my accountant is requesting.
Yeah.
And once I have those, then I can like easily dump them in. Like the solution for the solution for the sending the files to the client is like we need a solution where it's just like go to some web page or open an app and just dump everything in. I don't want to have to like organize it for you.
Those
You know
are
what I mean?
starting to show up. You
Yeah.
drop it all into one folder. That's starting to show up.
Right.
But just getting all that
Getting it's
put
hard.
into the folder.
Yeah.
The dragging and dropping's easy.
Okay,
It's the
so
getting it all.
To go back to that tweet, though, the solution is that you don't just have like a deadline in your firm, like a single deadline. That's what a lot of firms have. They say like, if you want your tax return done by the deadline, you have to get us everything by this date. And then clients are inevitably late. And that doesn't work because people miss deadlines.
You have to surge price it. That's the only way to really do this.
Surge price it. That's, yeah, exactly. If there's like a financial incentive to get it done faster, it's like twice as expensive if you wait until the deadline, or it just keeps going up every day, until it's 10 times more expensive. Then, you'll be happy to do a rush return if you're making 10x what you would normally make, right? It's like creating those incentives. And then also the other thing that I keep hearing about that just makes so much sense to me is this idea of scheduling returns. So instead of saying you have to get us all your stuff and then now we work, you say we are going to work on your return on this day. And if you don't get us everything we need by this day, then you are going to get pushed out.
You got to find a different account.
Rescheduled.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that manages your capacity because you know that this return is going to take 4 hours. The time is on the calendar. The client will call and be available during that time. Maybe they come in. I mean, it's like when you use like so many of these, H&R Block, kind of places, you just go in and you sit there while your accountant does the return. Like there's a reason that they do that. It works.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Moving on. How about we thank our next sponsor, David? I believe that is Cloud Accountant Staffing. In case you missed the last 100 or so episodes, David and I have been discussing almost weekly that there is an accountant labor shortage. Regardless of the root cause, the problem is real. My social media feed is full of firms attempting to fill open positions on their teams, but how can anyone increase their staff size if everyone is attempting to hire during a labor shortage? That's where Cloud Accountant Staffing comes in. They'll help you find full-time team members for your firm that live in the Philippines. How much would your firm change, or for that matter your life, if you could add 40, 80, 120 hours of capacity to your firm in 2026? Cloud Accountant Staffing was founded by a firm owner who grew his firm using offshore talent, and now he's applying everything he learned to help you grow your firm. If your firm is in need of expert bookkeepers, accountants, CPAs, or virtual assistants, head over to accountingpodcast.promo/CAS. That's accountingpodcast.promo/CAS. Now, David, I guess we should talk about the IRS shutdown.
Yes.
I mean, the government shut down October 1st, and the IRS put out a contingency plan saying that they're going to borrow funds from the Inflation Reduction Act to stay open for a grand whopping 5 days after. So what was October 1st was Wednesday?
So you have 2 more days, maybe.
Wednesday,
3 more
Thursday,
days.
Friday.
Depends
So,
on how you count.
yeah, Monday, Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. And then the IRS is going to shut down like a week before the October 15th deadline. What else do you say? It's not going to be good. It's going to be bad.
Yeah, they're saying after day 5, expect slower refund processing, reduced phone and correspondence support, and delays in audits and appeals.
Yeah.
And they're advising tax pros to file your returns, make payments, and pull transcripts now before systems go limited.
I don't see how this politically is good for Trump or the Republicans. I mean, it appeals to a certain segment of the base that wants the government to shut down and wants this chaos, but it doesn't appeal to moderates.
And it's very illogical because I think I saw that there was a threat there. Trump's like, we'll just shut it down permanently. Okay, so you're going to just not have the IRS anymore? Like, how are we going to collect this money? But it just doesn't make a lot of sense. It's great sound bites,
Yeah.
but this is not good. And if you're, as a reminder, during the 2018-2019 shutdown, IRS mail backlogs reached 5 million pieces, which wound up costing the government billions. So shutting down the IRS actually winds up increasing costs because the work's still going to be there in the end. It's not going away. So why shut it down?
All right. The AI CPA, by the way, has renewed its call to exempt all IRS employees for the duration of the shutdown. I believe that went unheard, fell upon deaf ears. So, I don't know, with the shutdown going on, with the paralysis in DC, with the impact of tariffs hitting and job growth slowing, and things continuing to be uncertain, you wonder what's going to happen to the economy going into the end of the year and going into 2026. We have a bit of data from CFO.com. CFOs are feeling weirdly optimistic. So 90% say that they're more confident about their own companies compared to 3 months ago. That's huge. That's a huge jump. It was just 48% last quarter. So 90% are more confident about their own companies, but they have like lukewarm confidence about the economy overall. So isn't that an interesting place to be in? And we see this sometimes with like personal finance, where they survey consumers and consumers are very happy or generally happy with their own situation, but they worry about the economy. So
there's probably a psychological or behavioral economic definition of that paradigm of whatever it is, where you think everybody else is going to be affected by the economy except for my business or except for me. Right?
Oh yeah, you think they're being overly optimistic? I don't know. I mean,
it's everybody else's problem. Like everybody else is going to have an economic problem if the economy turns south, but I'm confident in our business.
Yeah. I mean, I'm confident in our business too. Like, I feel like it's a weird situation because we have all this new technology. We have everything that we could, all the stuff that we can build with AI at Earmark, David, is incredible. Like, we have just crazy unlimited opportunity if we just execute on our vision.
Yeah.
At the same time, we've got this like totally dysfunctional federal government. And we've got like a situation where like we might drive ourselves into a recession through tariffs and create more inflation. But at the same time, because things are getting bad now, the Fed might start lowering interest rates, which will then stimulate economic growth. So I guess the answer is that there's just like a lot of opportunity, but also a lot of chaos. It's just a very chaotic time.
Yeah, that's good summary. It's chaotic.
All right, so David, should we get to app news, or do you want to talk about the California-New Jersey alternative pathway? Maybe we hit on that real quick.
That, but even faster than that, I'm going to touch quickly. The cost to get a PTIN is now dropping again to $10. So it's going to be, so it's dropping from $11 to $10. Plus, there's a $8.75 fee that's paid to a third-party contractor.
What?
So whoever's administrating this is getting almost 50% of the revenue.
Wait, why is the PTIN price dropping? PTIN deflation?
They review the cost of it. Okay, biennial, BIENNIL. Is that every 2 years they review the cost?
I guess.
Because biannual would be
twice
a year. Yeah. So
I don't know.
So
I always get mixed up by that.
Yeah. So they review the cost, and they've done this a couple of times, these cycles. So basically the 900,000 professionals are going to renew. But historically speaking, if you go back, it used to be in 2021 to 2024, the fee was about $19.75. And then prior, at one time in 2010, it was up to $64.25. And then in 2022, it was $30.75. So they did research. They realized they were overcharging this. And somebody on Twitter brought up a good point. What happened to the $50 million a year when they were charging so much for it? Like where's this money? Like, what happened to this money? But I also feel like now that it's $10, is this just pointless? Like, is this just a way for a third-party contractor to get some money?
Well, if anyone can get a PTIN, that's the problem, is there's no regulation of tax preparers, essentially.
Yeah.
So it's just what is it? What security does it give us?
And what's for $10 in the grand scheme of like budgets and things for the IRS, et cetera?
I don't know.
Like what's $10? It's nothing.
Oh, the PTIN. So we're not talking about the. I'm confused. We're talking about just like getting an ID number, so you can
Yes,
like file
exactly.
a
To
tax
actually
return.
file the paperwork, get your number
Oh,
returned to you, and you have to pay a fee of some type, some sort of
wow! This is real breaking news, David. Like this is
handling
just
fee.
like you got some hot.
Well, and it's only because on Twitter, like
What?
somebody brought up a point, like what happened to all the money when they used to charge $60 for a PTIN in the days?
What
Like
happened
that's
to
like
it?
it's like $50 million, right, a year.
Okay.
But in the grand scheme, I mean, this is like $9 million. Like, why even charge people for this? It just doesn't make sense.
Well, David, it'll just remain a mystery, I guess.
Yeah.
In other news, I dropped my pen. In other news, AI is driving a rise in CEO impersonator scams. Deepfake CEO scams exploded to over 105,000 U.S. attacks last year, with losses exceeding 200 million in Q1 of 2025 alone, including one $25 million theft. Scammers are using AI to create convincing video meetings with fake executives, and they are exploiting human psychology through authority and urgency to trick employees into transferring funds or data. Companies like Ferrari, Wiz, and WPP have been targeted. Financial institutions are particularly at risk. So this could happen to your organization. And as we've talked about before, David, right? Do you remember what the best way to defend against a deepfake AI attack is?
Well, to have a secret code word you'd use with your client, your family, and then you would try to have a live connection of some type. But even that's now AI. You could hack around that.
Yeah.
Maybe physically meet. Hey, I'll change your payroll account number, but you have to physically meet me at this McDonald's first to talk it out.
Yeah, have a multi-factor authentication method, right? So the way this usually works is the target of the attack gets a call from the fake CEO, gets on a Zoom call for a follow-up meeting, and then is instructed to say, do a wire transfer. And then the Treasury, whoever has access, right, the CFO, whoever in Treasury does the transfer, and it's too late to get the money back. So you got to have another way of verifying, right? You must text me, right? Text the person you're on the call with.
I usually like to message me through Slack, some internal private messaging channel that nobody else should have access to. I think that's always good.
Personal fraud story. This week, a family member of mine fell for a scam. And we've been reading about this, talking about this for years, David. Like millions of Americans are victims, individuals. Millions of individual Americans are victims of scams, crypto scams. And it happened in my family.
How? Like, I'm dying to know. Was somebody pig butchered? Like, what happened here?
Well, no, because pig butchering, that's where, isn't that where like you're on like a dating site or something?
Well, no, it's like I send you that text that says, "Hey, Joe, do you want to go golfing? Do you remember me?" And then they start a scam, and it's a romance scam through text.
Right, romance
and then eventually you got to send them crypto or buy crypto or something. Yeah.
No, so this was I don't know what you call this, but basically my family member got a call, and it was supposedly like the jury duty. It was the court or the police or something, and it was because she had not done her jury duty. And the way they got through to her is she had gotten jury duty recently. So they must have had some sort of like record. They must have gotten into the court system to get the jury duty records. So she got exempted, or no, it's that thing where like you have to call in every day, right?
Yes,
and you call in to see if you get called, and a lot of the time you don't. So that was it. There was like got a jury duty notice, called in, didn't get called, thought it was all over. Then later gets this phone call, and it's the police or some sort of authority saying You didn't show up for jury duty and you owe a fine. And if you want to get this resolved, you have to like pay it now. And created this sense of urgency and got her to leave the house, go to an ATM, take out a bunch of money, and convert it to crypto at a kiosk at a supermarket and send it. All in a matter of a couple hours. And kept her on the phone the whole time so that nobody could stop it from happening.
I think I saw those coin me kiosks at the grocery stores in the state of Arizona. They're being banned. They're going away very soon.
I mean, it's just money laundering, like right there at the grocery store.
Yeah.
Take your cash, convert it into crypto. Like, are you kidding me? Like, they might as well call it that. That's insane. Yeah, enabling scams too. That's amazing.
So what's the recourse? Is this money just gone now?
Yeah, there's no way to get it back.
Yeah.
$1,500. So it could have been worse, right? But they keep it low, I think, when it's that kind of scam because most people can't take that much money out of the bank via an ATM withdrawal.
Yeah.
So they keep it low. But yeah, what's the recourse? It's sort of like education, I think. But also like this happens a lot to the elderly. And there's really not that much you can do. I guess setting limits, right? Like go with your relatives and like set withdrawal limits. If they're going to manage their own money, make sure that like I do this for myself, right? Like my ATM card, I can't withdraw like more than a few $100 in cash because I don't like, why would I ever do that? So maybe, I do that just as a security measure, and maybe you do the same thing with like their online accounts.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is like just as an elderly person, every interaction you get, just assume it's a scammer. Every single phone call. Like my mother-in-law lives with us. Her house is right next door to my office. I hear calls come in all day, and they're all scams. Like every phone call is a scam.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it was a local number, seemed trustworthy. So I don't know if our listeners have any suggestions. Let us know. I've got actually like a ton of fraud stories here. Did you hear about the Airbnb guest who said a host used AI-generated images to make a false damages claim?
Wow.
This was an Airbnb superhost. So they allegedly made AI-generated photos to fabricate a $9,000 damage claim against a departing guest. And the guest disputed this. And initially, Airbnb approved the fraudulent claim. And this guest was going to be on the hook for like $9,000. And then the guest went to the media. This is always how it happens, right?
Yeah.
And then pointed out that the photos don't look right. There's like inconsistencies in the wood grain and the cracks in the wood. Apparently, the damage that were inconsistent across multiple photos. So that's how you can catch some of this stuff. If there's multiple photos, it's not going to be totally consistent. And they proved it.
Until they work on that, and they do just a +1 or -1 on these, as they do the second versions.
You know what's crazy about this is Airbnb didn't cancel the Superhost's account. They just warned them.
Well, once you're a Superhost, like it's a pretty good gig.
They're making money off of you, right? Yeah. Should we talk about the alternative path in California and New Jersey?
Yes.
What's the news there? I think it was Amber Setter who alerted us of this.
Yeah, so the California is breaking news, but let's touch New Jersey really quickly. So a few days ago, New Jersey has introduced a bill from the New Jersey Society of CPAs that will essentially create an alternative path. So you can get a bachelor's degree with 2 years of experience and pass the exam. It's the same what everybody else is currently having. So that is, it's passed the Assembly May 22nd, 2025, and then the Senate Commerce Committee on June 12th, 2025, and they expect it to take effect January 1st, 2026. And the state of California recently pushed through their bill, AB 1175, to Governor Newsom's desk. And breaking news as of, was it yesterday?
I don't know.
It was just signed, like breaking news. It's only reported right now on the Cal CPA's website. I don't see it anywhere else in the news. So as of breaking news, California has officially signed in alternative pathways. And again, it's the same thing. The way they frame their law is a little different, though. They're basically saying you must earn a bachelor's degree with an accounting concentration and pass the uniform CPA exam and complete 2 years of experience. But if you get a master's degree, you can substitute it out for 1 year of experience. So they're it's the same law, but they're just communicating it flip-flopped than all the other places. Or you can get an approved accounting certificate program, but I'm not really sure what that is. So yeah, now we're at 28 states now, somewhere in there that have alternative pathways. And they all have the same pathway. It's amazing how I'm not going to use they're conspired together, but it's amazing. Barry Melanson leaves AICPA, and all these states introduce bills that are almost identical to each other, right, one after another.
Sounds like there was some,
not the right word.
There was some mastermind behind this. Who knows?
Yeah, it's not conspiracy. It's not colluding. Coordination, maybe is the right word. That's the polite way to say it.
So the U.S. News and World Report rankings are out for the top 12 undergraduate accounting programs for 2026. I don't know if anyone reads this anymore, but I know when I was going to college, like the U.S. News rankings were important. Like, when your kid was deciding on schools, David, did you care about that?
We didn't buy that magazine. No.
No, I mean, but you look online for the rankings, right? Like, here's the top 100 colleges, that sort of thing.
Maybe like you visit the website once we're like watching it. I mean, here's what people watch in Arizona. You have ASU up there by you. U of A's down here. It's the Playboy's list of the top 10 party schools. That's the list people pay attention to. And those two schools are always on there.
Oh, they are? Okay. I wouldn't know. Well, here's the news about the accounting undergraduate program rankings. The University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign has overtaken the University of Texas Austin as the top undergraduate accounting program for 2026, moving up from second place last year. So good job, University of Illinois. Beat out University of Texas, Austin. Illinois accounting graduates earn an average starting salary of $78,477, and 96% secure employment or graduate school placement within 6 months. These rankings are determined through surveys of business school deans and senior faculty, evaluating classroom resources, graduation rates, student debt, and starting salaries. The top 5 programs are Illinois, Texas, Brigham Young, Indiana, and University of Pennsylvania. I can keep going, David. Unless you've got something you want to talk about.
No, I was just trying to.
You're deep in thought there. You're like
I was thinking
processing
about these
this.
schools, and I was like, yeah, it makes sense because BYU always has that reputation. Right? So continue on to the next story.
All right. So I got a giant list of stuff we can talk about. Let's talk about tech, right? A bunch of fundraising, hot tech stories. Here's one. Wait, have we thanked Bill, our next sponsor?
Yes, we should do our next sponsor.
Let's thank Bill because my next story is about Bill.
October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and this October, Bill is putting out the spotlight on payment fraud prevention. As a listener to this podcast, I'm sure you know that cybersecurity isn't just a tech problem, it's a business risk. More than half of small businesses aren't confident in the security of their B2B payment systems. That's a huge opportunity for accountants to step in and lead. As an accountant, you're often the first line of defense when it comes to protecting clients' payments. Bill is the all-in-one financial operations platform built for accountants, from AP and AR automation to spend and expense management. Bill helps firms streamline the back office. Bill helps you protect every payment with customizable rules and approval policies to ensure true separation of duties. And throughout the month of October, Bill is offering real practical advice to help you protect your clients and their money. Learn about protecting payments with automation and AI from industry experts, including Donnie Shimamoto and Laura Redman. Register for Bill's free CPE webinar on October 8th. Head over to accountingpodcast.promo/Bill. That is accountingpodcast.promo/BILL.
And Bill, in app news, has recently introduced the Bill Cash Account, an operating account that combines treasury and payables functions while offering a high, I guess up to 3%. Maybe it's more than that, but one of the examples is 3% APY on operating cash. I saw this and I thought, wow, they took a while to do that. I thought I'm surprised that they didn't already have that, because this is where all of the expense management apps seem to be going. They're all adding cash accounts. We saw, QuickBooks did it a while ago, a few years ago.
I've
Ramp
always
has it.
wondered this. I brought this up when I was at Melio, because people would pay me through Melio, and then have to go to my bank account, and then I'm basically paying people through Melio, and then I have to go through my bank account. I'm like, it should just stay in Melio, right?
Well, like Venmo, right?
Yeah, it makes
Yeah.
sense for a balance to stay in the bill pay in and out system.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
So now they've got that. I guess improvements include next day business ACH payments with no additional fees, unlimited transactions, FDIC insurance up to $200 million. So they must be doing that thing where they take your balances
Sweeping.
and they sweep it out to different banks to keep that FDIC protection. So if you're a Bill customer, check out their new operating account feature. All right, I've also got more app news here. David, feel free to interrupt me if you wanna highlight a story. But my next one is Dual Entry has celebrated a $90 million Series A. I hadn't heard of Dual Entry until I read this story, and maybe I'm just like out of touch or something. But it sounds like they were in stealth for a while, or something. Do you know about Dual Entry? Have you heard of them before?
Not directly outside of the article of the raise, or they're about to raise, or announcing of the raise. But they basically, the history on it is the founders had their own company before, and they rolled out an ERP system. And just like anybody who rolls out an ERP system, you get frustrated, like, I'll just build one from scratch. And that's what they basically did. It's an AI-based ERP system.
Yeah, so they said that their ERP implementation for their previous startup took 18 months and cost $150,000 to $200,000 in consultants, plus $100,000 in licenses. I'm assuming that's like their annual fee. And that was at their company, Benetago. And the first implementation failed, so they had to switch consultants. And then the system ended up not being able to handle the transaction volume and lacked integrations. So classic case where startup founders hate accounting and decide with their next startup they're going to fix it.
Yeah. They have an interesting goal. The way they present this is they want to basically help create finance departments that have a staff of one. Right. So that's their goal. So I'm a company, small business owner. We have one finance person, and our company could be doing $1 billion in revenue, but we still have a finance department of one person. It seems a little aggressive to me, but I like that. That's a marching direction, right? It makes a lot of sense to go down that path.
And they're using AI agents to do it. They say that AI is embedded in the architecture, multiple AI agents working in parallel throughout workflows. And an example is bank reconciliation. There's multiple agents that will examine bank statement lines, check amounts, review past transactions for anomalies, compile information, suggest matches, and provide confidence scores. And they keep the human in the loop. The AI will suggest but never automatically post transactions. And they're claiming, this is something that I just have a hard time believing, but we'll have to take a look at. They're claiming that they have 13,000 native integrations already.
Well,
I didn't even know there were 13,000 apps you could connect to your ERP system.
Well, it's banks. So basically they connected the cloud, right? They basically connected the cloud.
I get it. I get it.
But, yeah.
Well, no, but they're saying that they have some sort of like API engine that can you can build integrations within the platform, even if there isn't one already. Some sort of like AI API thing. But like I've tried doing that with like Zapier and other like apps, and like I'm not sure how like reliable that would be. I'm a little skeptical about that. But I do think that this whole ERP world is like ripe for disruption, right? The fact that there's basically NetSuite and there's Sage Intacct, and like those are the only two like decent general purpose cloud ERP systems, and the rest are all like specialized systems for certain industries. I mean, there's a big opportunity here.
And we have like 3 or 4 more stories of other new GL apps, AI GLs that have popped up. And I'm kind of thinking about this, and they're all targeting QuickBooks, but I don't think it's going to hurt QuickBooks. I think it's going to hurt Xero. If you think about the last decade, 15 years, whatever, right? If you were like I want an alternative from QuickBooks. Highly likely, all your searches will result in discovering Xero. Now, Xero is going to be presented instead of a list of Xero and Wave and maybe Sage. Xero is not going to be a list against 40 AI accounting GL startups.
Yeah.
They're going to blend it. Like, it's probably going to hurt Xero's market share than QuickBooks, I think.
Yeah.
Because not that many people are going to, in the grand scheme of things, leave QuickBooks. But
Well,
if they're leaving, the odds of them choosing Xero is probably much lower now with all these AI startups that are happening.
the problem with going after QuickBooks is that in order to disrupt an entrenched player like that, you have to be 10 times better. That's the rule of thumb.
Yeah.
If you are against somebody who owns 80% of the market, 90% of the market, and is not like screwing up, right? Like, and we can agree, like whether or not you like Intuit and you like how they handle QuickBooks, like they are not screwing it up.
They push that border sometimes with accountants, but yes, in general it works. Yes.
Yeah, they're not dropping the ball completely, right? So you got an entrenched player that has like a moat of user adoption. You have to have a 10x better solution, and none of these GL replacements so far have been that. They've been slightly better. Xero, when they came to the market, was way better than QuickBooks Online, but then Intuit solved that problem. They spent 5 years in deep development, and they brought it up to parity.
Well, they made it a priority, right?
Yeah. And then Xero could no longer peel off users. So, like, will any of these AI GLs do that? I'm really skeptical because QuickBooks continues to invest in their AI. And sure, it might not be as innovative as some of these startups, but you're going to get the benefits. And so it's not going to be 10x better with the startups.
Well,
and it's
plus,
certainly
even
not
if
going
you
to be.
can build an equivalent product, now you've got to outmarket into it, which is another billions of dollars you need to spend.
Yeah, that's why you have to be 10 times better on the product side, because you can't outmarket the entrenched player. So you have to get evangelists who, want to recommend it. And but taking this to the ERP thing, I do think you can build a 10 times better ERP based on what I have seen, because you look at NetSuite and you look at Intact, those code bases are like 20, 30 years old. The user experience is horrible because these are ERP system companies. They're not building consumer products like Intuit. They don't have that deep expertise at building a good user experience. So they have a horrible user experience, and then they're not able to keep up with the AI stuff. And because their code bases are also old and outdated. Whereas Intuit has reinvented itself every 5-10 years in many ways. So, and the cost is just crazy, right? Like 18 months to implement, $150,000 to $200,000, had to redo an implementation, and then still wasn't happy.
Well, it's a very similar story to, we talked to, you interviewed the CFO of Peloton. Mm-hmm. Similar thing. He went from QuickBooks Desktop to QuickBooks Online to some ERP to another ERP, then eventually SAP. And the whole time he wishes he would have stayed on QuickBooks, right? Because it's just, you keep spending more and more money on these ERP rollouts and you don't ever get what you need. Right? I have a story kind of related to ERP stuff in a way.
Okay.
You could argue that we've been living under this world of you build an app stack to build your custom ERP. That's the world we've been living under. But now I'm thinking it might be shifting to being you basically use vibe coding to build your own custom ERP. Right? And an example of this just happened this week. Honeybook, I don't know if you've ever seen Honeybook, wedding photographers might use it, wedding planners. It lets their clients book time with you. You can send them the proposal and a quote. It's a business management platform. It's not really an accounting system, but it does just enough collecting the payments, sending out invoices, that type of software. They just bought a vibe coding app called find.dev. So now people that use Honeybook are going to be able to build their own custom apps on top of Honeybook to solve their own custom problems. And I was really thinking about this. I could easily see QuickBooks or Xero buying one of these vibe coding platforms. Because obviously Xero and QuickBooks have seen the benefit of having an app ecosystem, all these third-party apps to make Xero and QuickBooks more valuable.
Right.
So if you had QuickBooks and you could build your own thing, whatever problem you're having in your business, and it was accessible because it's part of QuickBooks.
I don't have to wait for someone to build an add-on. I could build my own, is what you're saying.
Exactly. You can just build your own add-ons.
And
I'm Spirit. I am right there. We have some headaches of some apps we're using right now that I keep telling you, I'm going to build a replacement. I'm going to do it. Like, it's close. Arguably, we're just typical business owners at some level. Maybe not typical, but we are. And we have the same problems business owners have, where you have these things and they don't solve your problem. And you're like, I'll just build it myself. That world is coming. You're going to build your own ERP. QuickBooks and Xero will be the base, and you'll build your ERP around them. Well, and that would be a way for QuickBooks and Xero to fight back against these AI startups.
Right. Yeah, the ERP is going to be the source of truth for the data. You need a database.
Yes.
And you need something you can trust, and you're not going to vibe code that. So you have to have this trusted database, and then but all the interface, all of the ways that you interact with it, that you get data into it and out of it, a lot of that could be vibe coded. And these like you said, David, like really simple solutions, like I don't know,
it's like order form for your clients, or portal,
exactly,
a vendor portal.
Yeah. Build an order form that links up to like QuickBooks Payments and sets up the recurring invoice or something if they don't have that. Right. So now it's a real threat to the add-ons that are, say, only really solving like one little problem. I mean, that was always a problem.
A menu in QuickBooks. Yeah.
Right. It was always a problem if you were like a feature, if your app is a feature, there's always the risk that like Intuit will just build it.
But now the risk is the client will just build it themselves. They'll just build it. You'll just build it yourself.
The client will build it someday. I think we're getting there, almost there. Avalara has launched agentic tax and compliance, AI agents that work for you. These are launching in October. And Avalara is saying that these AI agents will autonomously execute tax compliance tasks from start to finish. They integrate directly into business systems, observe workflows, advise on compliance needs, and execute filings automatically. Now, I read these stories and I always look for the examples. So the example is this returns agent. This was in a CPA practice advisor story. So the returns agent can ingest transaction data, apply the right forms and jurisdictional roles, and file returns on your behalf after approval. So basically it sounds like taking data and putting it into forms and filing the forms. Which I thought was that's something Avalara does right now. They do it you can pay for that with people doing it. So now they're replacing that aspect with the AI filling out the forms and filing them, which actually seems like makes a lot of sense. But it's a lot less impressive when you actually dig down into it and figure out what it's doing. But that's how most AI agents are. It's just taking a task that a human had to do because there was no integration, and it's just automating that. And I'm sure there's a lot of those cases with sales tax. All these jurisdictions where there's no API, there's no connection, you have to fill out a paper form or a PDF. I don't know, an agent couldn't do a paper form, but it could do a PDF, right? You have to fill out a PDF and upload it to a portal, or you have to log into a portal and you have to fill in information manually. So
and yeah, it's good for that type of stuff. And arguably, anytime you have copy paste, AI should just be doing those tasks for you. Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense.
We talked about this on the show previously. Ignition has now launched it. It's their new AI-powered pricing tool, which combines artificial intelligence with real proposal data to provide tailored price benchmarks, suggestions, and reasoning for firms traditionally forced to guess at pricing. So when you make a proposal now, and David, I'm curious if this is available in our Ignition account. When you make a proposal now, you can actually get it to tell you if it thinks that the price is low or high.
But at first it would just be like, hey, it's been a while. It would just by default would just tell you to increase, but now apparently they're making it smarter. It would by default just tell you to increase the price, but obviously now it's going to be a little bit smarter. But I don't know. Here's what I wanted to do in Ignition. when the customer asks for a receipt, I'd like to go into Ignition and send a PDF of a receipt. Like I just do a screenshot with Windows and then save that JPEG and send that the receipt to people.
There's
This
no
is
button
crazy.
you can press to say send receipt like in Stripe?
No, there's no receipt. Like
What the-
build features we need. Like people like AI is fine and all, but like, or build me an AI bot that takes screenshots of Ignition to create receipts. I don't know. I feel like, great, they added these features, but I'm still manually doing a Windows screenshot to get a receipt out of Ignition. It doesn't make sense.
So if you're listening and you use Ignition and you try this feature, let us know what you think. My skepticism is based on this idea that I'm not sure if the AI will have enough context to actually do a good analysis of the pricing, because it's supposedly going to benchmark against what other firms are doing based on location, firm profile, and industry specifics. But like what those are and how much detailed information the AI has makes a huge difference. And this is why benchmarking has always been difficult, because like one firm can have a totally different client profile than another firm, and the pricing is completely different because you should be pricing based on your ideal client, not based on the services you're providing. And does Ignition know enough information about the client to be able to determine the price? Does that make sense, David?
The services everybody offers is so different in how you offer it and how you bundle it and how you package it. And that's the problem with a lot of these tools. This is why I want to build our own software, because it kind of works in a simple world where I'm just doing tax returns for people and it's the same every time. But everybody has, I also sell barbecue sauce and I also do this. Everybody has kind of everything businesses, and these tools just struggle to handle that versus a custom. Everybody's going to start building their custom tools around the GL. Honestly, that's the direction it's headed.
Continuing on with app news, Keeper has an update. They have introduced AI executive summary notes for their plus tier customers. This tool automatically generates narrative reports from 12 months of financial data, including vendor spending and year-over-year comparisons. Now, I'm eager to try this. I'm optimistic because this is one of the best use cases for AI. You can do this now. You can build a custom GPT or a chat GPT project, and you can create a custom instruction set where you just upload financial statements and reports, and it'll generate the narrative. It's really good at doing this, and the quality is just incredible with GPT-5. So like this is a use case that works, and if they can effectively build it into the workflow so that you can then like share it with a client, send it to them, like I think this is a winner.
And I think the narrative makes a lot of sense, because anything that has some expertise, but it's gray or it's opinion based. It's not even opinion based, but you and I could write up the same narrative for the same company, and it'll just be slightly different. And AI, it's okay with AI if the narrative's a little different than the last narrative, versus the data entry where it has to be perfect every time.
Right.
And this is why I think.
Yeah. This is translation. So this is what AI is like so good at. AI can now translate any language to any language.
Yes.
We have the universal
That's a good
translator.
way to say this. It's translating financial language into a narrative.
Yeah. The numbers, financial statements are a language, and you have to learn how to read them. And clients cannot read them, most of them. And this converts it into the narrative, the English, the plain English. Now, the question is, can you customize these prompts? Can you tailor how Keeper writes the narrative? Because I would want to tailor it to my client. Is my client completely ignorant of like accounting?
Financial information. Yeah.
Financial information. Do they have some background in it? Like you need to be able to customize this. Otherwise, it's not going to sound right. So this is currently available only for QuickBooks Online clients. And I just got to say, this is one of my gripes about Keeper is they always roll everything out for QuickBooks, and it lags with Xero. And I feel like that's really not nice to us Xero users. It's like it's like if you have an app and you treat your iPhone and your Android customers differently. And that's why we at Earmark, we use an app development platform that lets us release the same features on both at once, because we don't discriminate against Android users.
You actually do, like.
Well, I mean, I like to make fun of them, but like it's all in good fun because I know you're a passionate Android user, David. So when we picked our platform, we didn't discriminate.
So did you see that Digits announced they're announcing the launch of its AI firm models, as well as a new accountant partner program. But the AI firm models is interesting because it feels like they are getting into practice management a little bit. It's hard to say. So they're releasing proprietary models for large firms. Firm models deliver data privacy, security, intelligence that grows with every client, every action, compounding into firm-specific automation. So basically, the Digits is really pushing for you to use Digits, not with your clients, but as your firm, lack of a better term, operating stack. Now they're going to, if it's free, firm books. So to do your bookkeeping on Digits, that's free. And then they have a wholesale pricing so you can price it out to your clients, which is similar to what QuickBooks, I think Xero probably has that too, right? Wholesale pricing out to your clients. They have dedicated success, dedicated training. They said 700 accounting firms have applied to the Digits accounting program already. But it's interesting that they're going to release a proprietary model. Like it's almost like a custom version of Digits just for accounting firms. It feels like.
Let's thank our last sponsor of this episode, David, and that is Assembly. Are you still juggling 5 different software tools just to manage one client? You're sharing contracts through DocuSign, sending files on ShareFile, collecting payments in QuickBooks, and your clients are constantly asking, where do I find that document again? Sound familiar? This is exactly why Assembly was built for accounting firms like yours. Assembly is a client portal and practice management system that brings together your intake forms, e-signatures, tasks, messages, files, and invoices, fully white-labeled to your firm's brand. With Assembly, you can put all of your onboarding and client management on autopilot and even embed tools your clients need, from Calendly for scheduling to the IRS payment portal. Assembly gives your clients one secure login across entities, whether you handle their personal or business accounting. Simple, secure, and straightforward. Ready to elevate your client experience and streamline your practice? Sign up today and get a 14-day free trial. Use code EARMARK, and you'll also get an extra $100 off any paid plan. That's code EARMARK, all capital letters. To see why accounting firms are making the switch to Assembly, head over to accountingpodcast.promo/assembly. That's accountingpodcast.promo/ASSEMBLY.
So I have a story. Did you see that Paycom is going to lay off 500 people? Are you familiar with Paycom?
I don't even know what Paycom is.
Paycom is similar to an ADP, a Paychex. It's payroll, HR type, management type
bigger
companies,
companies, smaller companies. Like
I think they're a little bit going after mid-market and smaller because I see commercials for them all the time.
Oh, okay.
So I must be. And I think they hired who's the blonde lady with the really short blonde hair on Shark Tank? She got scammed. Remember, she got scammed at like $200,000. Oh my, I can't. Anyways, she does a lot of their commercials. But so Paycom, their Oklahoma City-based HR software company, announced it's laying off more than 500 employees as part of restructuring tied to its expansion into automation and AI-driven technologies. The cuts affect non-client-facing back-office roles that have been automated, while sales, service, and implementation teams remain unaffected. So I don't know if I buy this or not. I think at one level, I think that it's very easy for companies to say, I'm laying off employees due to AI, instead of CEOs and HR departments saying, we manage the company so poorly, we now need to lay people off. It's much easier now to throw this AI at, oh, you're a victim of AI, and throw them under the bus. It's much easier to lay people off with this justification.
Yep.
And the reason I think they laid people off is not because they have all this AI. I think it's their stock price. If you compare Intuit's and ADP's stock price to Paycom's is down 38% for the last 5 years. Intuit's up 112%. ADP's is up 110%. This is why they're laying people off.
Yeah.
I don't think it's because of AI.
And that's interesting because a lot of companies are probably doing that. They're saying because of AI automation, we don't need this many workers. And really they just want to pump their numbers.
That's what I think is happening.
Yeah.
Exactly. And because I don't think there's some new magic payroll HR AI thing, because if there was, ADP would also be announcing they're laying people off. Everybody would be doing the same thing. It's not like somebody has a secret sauce in a bottle. And then if they're saying this is non-client facing rules, that tells me it has nothing to do with payroll and HR. This is back office management rules. Right now, are all the management rules suddenly automatable? they're just cutting layers of overhead out of their company is what they're doing. I just don't buy it. The headline, though, again, it plays into that AI is losing their jobs, but they're not. These are not customer facing. These are not the people running the payroll. So they don't have AI running payroll yet. This is management.
Well,
it's middle management, who I still think is the biggest victim of AI.
Soon enough, actually, it's funny. Like we use technology to get away from having to call in your payroll, but we could also use AI now so that you can just call in your payroll anytime, and it doesn't matter. There's no service center that has to be open. Like the AI just like takes the numbers from you and puts them into the boxes. We might go full circle, David.
Yeah. Well, they have some app, like this app, and you can run your payroll. ADP has that too, this chat bot to run payroll through. People are
but
building
they suck,
that.
right? It's just, it's terrible. But
it's very low, non-complicated payrolls, right?
Hey, Ryan, welcome Ryan to the live stream. It's been very quiet today, I guess because we're recording on a Sunday. Ryan says, blaming the robots is easier, but the robots will remember when they take over. That's why you should always say please and thank you to ChatGPT, just in case, All right, David, that's all the time we have this week. Thanks everyone who joined us live. Don't forget you can earn free continuing professional education credit for listening to the Accounting Podcast and many fine podcasts with the Earmark app. Go to earmark.app in your web browser or get the free Earmark CPE app from the Apple App Store or Android App Store. Earn CPE anytime, anywhere for free. And if you want to support our work, subscribe for the low price of $169.99 per year. It's the best deal in CPE anywhere. That's all I got this week, David.
So you're going to be in Atlanta?
Atlanta and Boston.
And in Boston.
Yes.
I'll be in New York City this week on vacation. So if any of you want to hit me up, maybe I could meet up for a drink or something. I don't know. Check me down on the Twitter.
All right. Find David on Twitter at David Leary. Let him know if you want to meet up with him in New York City. That sounds fun. I wish I was going there. It's going to be beautiful weather. I mean, Boston. I can't wait to be in Boston in the fall. So nice. All right. That's all I got. All right. We'll see you around here next week. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.